So again, we have a very distinguished panel, and I'm going to hand over to Saji to take us forward.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
No. Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Afternoon time, after lunch. I just want to make sure. Thank you for the introduction. Thank you for being here. My name is Saji. I represent an organization called Search for Common Ground, which is an international organization focused on conflict transformation, working in partnership with local populations and organizations to transform societies from within and at a society-wide level. We'll have examples later on, some of the example programs that we've done. But before I get started, I want to take a minute to really thank GPPAC, Cordaid for inviting us to share this panel, but also to really, I appreciate the fact that youth are a key part of this discussion, and I really value that. You've heard youth mentioned throughout the day, and to have a focus on youth is a great opportunity, I think, and I'm glad that it is happening here. It is also happening at a very auspicious time, because the Secretary General, in his 5-year action agenda plan, has emphasized youth participation as a key pillar in his action agenda plan. So I think that this is happening the timing is perfect for this. Allow me to take a few minutes to lay the groundwork. When we are talking about youth, we are talking about young people, young women and men between the ages of 15 and 24 years of age. It's about 14% of the global population right now in that age group, but if you take 0 to 24, you're looking at about 40% of the global population is this young cohort. So it's a significant part of the global population. My colleagues will talk with concrete examples from Morocco, Tunisia, Yemen, and Lebanon about how engagement with young people in a meaningful way can actually lead to some significant changes and have a society-wide impact. And then we'll have some reflecting time from Indonesia as well, how the struggles in the Middle East, North Africa region, and looking at Indonesia that happened a long time ago, how we reflect on that. And this is just as much as a panel, as much as a discussion with you, so we want to have time for that also to take place, so we really look forward to the discussion. With the Secretary General's emphasis on youth, one of his key pillars around it, there are several key things that he was focusing on with young people, looking at young people's participation in political affairs, social affairs, and economic affairs. But for the United Nations, engaging on youth issues is not a new thing. When we looked at this, it dates back to 1936, where the World Congress on Youth in 1936, that was also the beginning of the discussion on youth. And we fast forward to 2010, we had the International Year of Youth that was started and inspired by none other than the former President Ben Ali. And I guess the young people in that country sent him a strong message. So it is happening at a very auspicious time. I really wanted to minimize my comments and have my colleagues give concrete examples from these countries about engaging on young people and how that can lead to some systematic change. So I'm going to ask my colleague here, Abu, to share his experience, and then we'll transfer to the other side.
Thank you, Saji. Hello, everyone. So my name is Abu El-Fassi Ferri. I'm from Morocco, and now I'm based in Tunis with Search for Common Ground. So I think I will give just some more concrete examples of the kind of work we can do with youth in the MENA region, and I will focus on initiatives that Search for Common Ground implemented in Tunisia, Morocco, and Yemen. In the context of preventing radicalism, but more generally, it's about conflict prevention. And of course, there is a link with preventing radicalism in many of our projects. But often, sometimes it's a direct link, and often we touch on this issue indirectly, as when we work in prisons, for example, or on the reintegration of ex-prisoners that were considered at risk, for example. We also work sometimes on de-radicalization, but I'm not going to touch on this today unless you have questions on that during the debate. I will just describe three initiatives that we have in the region. The first one in Tunisia, actually, and in Morocco and in Yemen. We do it in the three countries. We call it the Youth Councils Initiative. It's a youth dialogue program and also a leadership development program. Across Tunisia, we work in 14 governorates. And in each governorate, we partnered with a local NGO to launch an open call for application to all NGOs in universities and posters in schools to establish a group of 25 youth leaders very engaged and influential in their community and also very diverse. The idea is to represent the community where they're from. Of course, there is no monopoly of representation. There is never 100%. But with 25 young people very involved and well-known in their community, very diverse through ideologically, socioeconomically, gender-balanced as well, so that they can undertake some actions in their communities for the better good. So we have the interesting part is that it's very diverse. I mean, we have from the left to the right of the right. So we have all extremes politically engaged in these groups, and they speak as one voice, and that's very credible in their actions when they are promoting messages of tolerance and peace in their communities and calling for dialogue. And of course, in Tunisia over the last year, it's a very, very polarized environment. So when we're talking about bringing people together, it's not something that you have every day. And even when we start these processes, people may know each other or may not, but they've never been in that situation before. So they may know each other, but then they are on the same table and they have common objectives, and there is a mistrust. They look at each other, and of course, what we do is we facilitate processes that includes capacity building, so a lot of training, lots of conflict resolution training. That's actually new in Tunisia. In Morocco and in Lebanon, conflict resolution is quite developed. But Tunisia, it's quite new in terms of just the basics of the theories and the practice of conflict resolution. It's a new field in Tunisia. So we start with the basics. The idea is also to work on local governance with the local authorities, and as you may know, in Tunisia, the municipalities are not elected yet. Since the revolution, it's still the old municipalities in place, and they have not held elections. So they appointed people just to run the local affairs while waiting for the next elections, and we still don't have a date. But still we have to engage with the municipalities, and so the youth councils engage with them. The idea is to work on social cohesion. When you have, I'm going to talk about the Salafist groups, for example, in Tunisia. It's a very sensitive issue today in Tunisia. There have been many provocations from their part. They clearly don't have a good image in the media or in the public, but it's a very active minority. And then there are also different groups in the Salafis, which is the right of the right, very, very conservative and actually sometimes radical view of Islam. And we do have some members of the youth councils representing the Salafist movement in the youth councils. And I think it's very interesting, and I think there is nothing wrong about that. People, obviously comment about this. Some members are saying, well, I'm not sure I want to be part of that group if these one and these one are members. Actually, the same is valid from the people associated with the old regime, the Ben Ali regime. Okay. So I think it's a paradigm shift to show that we can actually break the stereotypes and work across the aisle and especially have this dialogue with what we call the moderate Salafists. And that's what we're having in these 14 youth councils across Tunisia. And together they undertake joint actions to raise awareness on all kinds of issues: violence in schools, women's rights, the voice of youth in the new constitutions that's being drafted right now by the National Constitutive Assembly. And the message that these youth councils send to the population is that you have to work with everybody, including including all the views, including what they call extreme or radical, as long as there is an agreement on non-violence. And I think there is nothing wrong with being very, very conservative, and that's the message that these youth councils are sending to the country in Tunisia. I really only have 1 minute left. I want to talk about more initiatives, including some major programs that these youth councils are implementing, including a TV production. It's a TV series called The Team. It's the same concept, but on TV. It's a soap opera on like 26 episodes, 26 minutes per episode. So it's a popular series that will be broadcast on TV. It's a sport team, again very diverse and representative of the Tunisian society as a whole, from the right to the left of the left. So you have Salafists in the team, and the idea is that they have to play together as a team to win. But they are very different, and they would never have a chance to be together. Actually, I mean, it's a fiction, it's a drama, but that reflects reality. We try to show role models that we can cooperate, we can work together, we can break stereotypes, and we can bridge differences. And through the episodes, we can talk about all the themes from, terrorism, corruption, torture in prisons, etc. But it's only 5% about sports and soccer in Tunisia. 95% of the stories in the TV series are about what's happening in the real life, in the neighborhoods, in the families, at the workplace, in schools. But again, all these characters who are very different and they work together. That's something that Tunisians do not see on their daily life, and that's the image that they want to promote for Tunisia. I'm sure we will have more time to speak about that, the questions.